But anyway, I really want to do tabletop review games and things like that because, like I said, when I try to go find reviews for tabletop games, either A, they're really political, B, they don't exist, or C, all they do is they talk about how it is not D&D 5th edition, and then they just don't give you any accurate information on the game. All they do is talk about D&D and D and how great it is. So that's I want to do tabletop reviews that talk about the game and just give it a fair shake. I found this one guy by accident on YouTube. He has a great love and passion for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. There's nothing wrong with that, except I will say this: his love and passion for the game has really blinded him to the point where his reviews for other games, they suck, they stink. That's my personal opinion. He I was looking for a game called Viking Death Squad. He did I can't speak. He did 2 reviews for the game. I thought maybe it was the same video uploaded twice because that has happened to me. No, it was the same video. Both videos are about the same length in time. He talks a little bit about the setting, but not a whole lot in one of them. And the second one, he goes a little bit in more detail, and he gives just a tad more detail about the game mechanics, about how there is a win and lose scenario in the mechanic. Um, but in one of the videos, if not both, he gives out a lot of misinformation about how he had the only place he could buy it was from the publisher Modifius, which is not true. That is not the only place where you can get this game. Pre-ordered my copy from Miniature Market. I'm not sponsored by them. It's just a place that I found when I was looking for alternative places to buy um, Games Workshop models for a cheaper price because buying it through Games Workshop through their store, it's pricey. And a lot of times their models are always out of stock, and sometimes you can find models you want for a cheaper price that are in stock some places else like that. Miniature Market also had a bunch of they sell stuff like D&D and all this other stuff, and you usually get a decent sale on it. Usually, not all the time. Sometimes they don't do that. But I just, that's one of the places where I found the game, and he, like I said, he's like, well, this is a game that's going to be hard to get to put in the hands of the players, and that's why it's not going to do well. And I had to go to Modifius, and I had to spend this amount of money just to get the game. That's the only place where you can get it. No, 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 no. Like I said, there's other places. If you look up Viking Death Squad, you're gonna find other places that you can buy it through. I mean, that's just how it is. Like I said, Miniature Market's one of them. You can get the PDF for $12.50 right now that tests out the game over at Drive Through RPG, which is a great way if you're going to be playing lots of role playing games, or if you have a big party and not everybody has the book. You can download the books, and then you can put the books on a Dropbox, and then your players can get access to the book and they can read it. It's a win-win for everybody. Uh, Drive Through RPG is a great place because they usually have stuff on sale too. Core books. I mean, even if you're looking for older editions of games, they have it. They have a lot of stuff on there. Not all of them because they do have to get the licensing. Another thing that I like about them too is I've actually bought a special edition of Changeling, the second edition, not the first edition. So I bought the PDF, and then I actually bought where they made me a custom hardback book. So I wanted to have a hardback book. I like owning things physically, but lately with physical space running low, digital is going to be the way that I go for me. That's why I've been buying a lot of video games digitally, and a lot of audiobooks just regular books digitally through Audible, stuff like that. Um, but I have a problem with this guy because he does give out misinformation about games, about how to get stuff, about the reviews, and I don't think it's intentional. He might not know about Drive Through RPG. He might not know that there's other websites out there that are selling this game because maybe they weren't pre-selling it when he went to Modifius's website to secure himself a copy. I'm not 100% sure, but like I said, there's a lot of misinformation out there. He did a review on, what was it, Into the Witchlight, Beyond Witchlight. It was a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, which was one of two that really didn't hit home with a lot of Dungeons and Dragons players out there. And the reason for why Witchlight didn't do well, or Beyond Witchlight, is because it takes out one of the core mechanics of the game, which he does explain in his video, and he does it somewhat well up to a point where the game just doesn't work with taking out combat. And somebody said, you're wrong, because the game actually does have combat in it. Yes, the game can be done with combat, but it forces you to play the game as if everything can be bypassed with non-violent solutions. The game did not do well. There are people who liked it, but for the most of us, it did not do well. It did not do great because it tried to do something that D&D really wasn't. Its core mechanics weren't meant for. The other campaign that dropped that didn't do so well was Raven's Loft or Raven's Claw. But God damn it, my brain. I'm sorry. Hold on. It's a game that was the game that I was gonna buy the rule setting for to get into Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. I'm glad I didn't. Yes, Raven's Loft. Everybody calls it Raven's Soft or Craven Soft because it's no bueno. It's a horror campaign in 5th edition, but the problem with it is there's a safety mechanic on it. So if you're with somebody and they get creeped out by spiders, to say, "Oh, I don't like spiders," that's it. You cannot continue playing your game session because somebody doesn't like spiders. And the whole thing about horror aspects is to be pushed beyond your comfort zone, because you might find out that you might like to be scared. You might like jump scares. You might like being pushed out of your comfort zone and realizing, hey, this thing that used to scare me no longer creeps me out. For example, as a kid and as an adult, I have trouble playing horror games. If you watch my Resident Evil 8 playthrough of The Village, I was using a lot of cussing and cursing and pausing the game because playing horror games is one thing, but watching horror games, I like them, is something else. My brother, he got Resident Evil and Silent Hill, and those games used to scare the shit out of me as a kid. But then after a while, I realized I liked kind of being this scared. And then after a while after that, it wasn't so much a scary experience as it was a fun experience. And if you just have a mechanic in a game where, somebody feels uncomfortable and they go, "Oh, I don't like spiders," or, "Oh, this is giving me the heebie-jeebies, we need to stop," and then everybody has to stop. There's no vote. Once somebody feels uncomfortable and they pull the safety lever, that's it. Not to mention from the other reviews and things that I've read, it doesn't really add much or add anything really new, which is just a shame. But back to this guy, because I went on a totally different rant and I didn't mean to. Excuse me, I'm going to cough because I'm sick. And this guy talks about how you shouldn't have to buy the books you're not interested in Dungeons and Dragons. Then he does a 360 and says, well, if you don't have the money, you shouldn't buy it. But if you do, you should support Dungeons and Dragons no matter what and buy every single book. No. That is a no. That is a mentality I came close to having with Games Workshop. In 8th edition, I was going to support Games Workshop. I was going to buy every single book. I was going to get every single army. I was going to do this. And then I stopped myself and I totaled up how much it would do to make one army, with the rule book and all the miniatures I needed, and then how much it would do. And then once I realized how goddamn expensive that was, I took a step back and said, no, I'm going to focus on one army and the book. And if something else comes along, and once the codex maybe goes on sale, after when it gets to the next edition, if there's something I really have to have, I'll try to find it on sale and get it and do it that way. um, you do not have to support these companies with every dollar, dime, and nickel that you have from you get from your job. You come first. Your bills come first. Your health comes first. Food comes first. Necessities come first your before games, before your escapism. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. Another thing, if you think I'm wrong about this, is Dungeons and Dragons is not a mom and pop company. It is not run by one person. It is run by a big old corporation. The game itself has made a lot of money. The game itself has had video games from the Sega Genesis era. It's had movies. It's had more video games in recent years. It's had a computer kind of like, I forget what the name of it was, but it was a D&D thing, kind of like MMO thing, and then they made a new MMO for it. It's something you don't have to support with all of your money and all of your time, because it's still going to be there. There's other people buying this product. It is still a relevant product. Only buy the things that you can afford to buy when you can buy them. I don't. If something comes out and somebody says you have to buy this book, even though you don't like the book, don't buy it. It's your money. Do what you want to do. If it's a campaign or a setting you're not going to play in, then there's no need to buy it. Maybe somebody else has that book that you can go and borrow and read from, or you can go to a library. I know they're kind of a thing of the past, but sometimes they have the books in the library, and then you can go read the books at the library or check them out and bring them home. You don't have to always support a company, because the company will live and thrive without you unless there's a massive boycott and nobody is buying the products, and then the company just dies out and dwindles, which is not going to happen for D&D in a long time, because it got, after 3rd edition 3.5, it kind of went into this weird kind of slumber, and then once Critical Role and everything and Stranger Things came out, there was a really big boost again back for people to get back into D&D. It brought in a lot of new people. Critical Role is still bringing new people into it. The D&D system, the D20 system, overall is an okay system. It's a decent system to dip your big toe into role-playing games, but like I said, there's many, many games out there that don't get a fair shake because they're not 5th edition. There's just different systems out there for different people. Anyway, that's my rant. That's all I wanted to get into it, is you really have to think for yourselves and put the research into yourselves. I mean, if you don't think that what I'm saying is 100% dead on, fine. Prove me wrong in the comments, and that's all right. Because maybe there's something I missed. Maybe there's something I don't know, and that's totally fine. But like for right now, from what I'm saying, you have to do the research and stuff for yourself if you're going to be making a review about a system that is not D20, and all you vaguely talk about is the game setting, and you don't really cover any of the game mechanics except for maybe one thing, and what that one thing is, you vaguely talk about it in a manner that is kind of misleading. It doesn't really give you an impression of, oh, this is such a good game, I need to go get it because of this one little tidbit. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now and we're going to play. I'm sorry, but I had to do that because my brain is all over the place. And that is content that I want to make, is not games, is not content saying this person's wrong about this review. I want to put out my own reviews to give the game a fair shake that everybody can get into and say, hey, this might be a game for you. This might not be a game for you. This might be a game to check out. Or, this is what makes the game fun. This is what makes it different. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now and focus back on Ollie Ollie World.
So you're a champion pushing at pushing, but can you do a trick?
Teach me. I don't know how to do trick.